Today it's all about the 3 most common ways to rig your soft plastics and the basic components that make up each one. You're gonna have a Texas rig, a drop shot, and a Carolina rig. All these are simple enough, but we'll start with the Texas rig. Probably caught more bass than any other soft plastic setup on the planet. You're gonna have a weight that is either gonna be pegged by a bobber stop or a toothpick or a rubber nail, or if you don't have that stop, your weight's just gonna be sliding free up and down the line in front of your rigged plastic. So you're gonna just come right in the nose of the bait. You're only gonna go in about as far as the distance from the hook eye to the first bend of the hook. Get it flipped around the direction that you want it, and then you're just gonna stick the hook point into the belly of the worm. There's your Texas rig. For your drop shots, you've got 2 basic ways to set these up depending on what plastic you're using. So you can use a light wire worm hook like this, and then you rig it essentially just like a Texas rig. The deal with a drop shot is that your weight is gonna be sitting below the bait. You can get these weights that you just slide the line into the little notch, cinch it up, or you can have weights where you tie a completely separate knot. On this one, we've got a little bit of a different hook. We've got just a little mosquito hook. You're just gonna nose hook this bait. That's more common if you've got smaller baits like this little Berkeley flatworm. But even with a different hook and a different type of weight, these are both drop shots, just 2 different ways to rig them up. And then last but not least, one of my very favorite ways to catch a bass is gonna be a Carolina rig. You're gonna have a couple more components involved. You're gonna have a swivel, you're gonna have a larger weight, and if you want to, you're gonna have a bead. That's a pretty common way to set it up. You're gonna have a bait that is tied to a leader that's a couple feet long, give or take. In front of the swivel, you're gonna have your weight and your bead. The bead's just there to make a little bit of noise as the weight's bouncing up against it on the bottom. And what this does is this heavy weight is gonna drag along the bottom, and the leader that doesn't have a weight on it is gonna let your bait kind of float and drift as it's getting dragged behind. A lot of guys use a monofilament leader because monofilament floats, and so that floating line is going to help keep the bait up off the bottom. So if you're trying to figure out where to start off with your soft plastics, a Texas rig, a Carolina rig, and a drop shot are 3 great options.